We all know someone brilliant, someone highly educated and deeply capable, who holds a belief that is demonstrably completely absurd. We typically assume these delusions result from a simple lack of information, or perhaps a secret deficit in their intellectual capacity. The ancient Greeks identified this exact behavior, but they realized that high intelligence provides no protection against delusion. It often fuels it. They called this condition amathia. It translates to intelligent stupidity, the corruption of a mind that knows how to think but actively refuses to. Amathia represents a sophisticated, willful refusal to engage, the active choice to look away from whatever might challenge the ego. Raw brain power is not a shield. Without the capacity for self-awareness, intelligence simply becomes the engine of our own self-deception. This psychological trap begins when a specific idea stops being a simple opinion and fuses with a person's ego. It becomes a core pillar of their identity. This fusion occurs most often when people tie their self-worth to rigid political dogma, religious orthodoxy, or fierce cultural tribalism. The crisis hits when an undeniable, objective truth crashes directly into that deeply identity-invested belief. In 1957, psychologist Leon Festinger identified the immense psychological pain caused by this internal collision: cognitive dissonance. Admitting a mistake in this state carries an existential cost, potentially dismantling the entire foundation of who a person thinks they are. The agonizing stress of this conflict forces the mind into a brutal binary choice: accept the truth and let the ego shatter, or reject reality entirely to survive. When pushed to that breaking point, the threatened mind closes completely, pulling inward like a tightly clenched human fist. But the intellect doesn't turn off. Instead, it is drafted into service as a weapon to protect the fragile ego. The person deploys their raw brain power to actively distort facts, rationalize glaring contradictions, and build elaborate defensive walls around their false belief. Because they possess high intelligence, the rationalizations they invent are highly sophisticated. They can make utter delusions look perfectly logical and internally coherent. This defensive shield eventually hardens into the state of self-deception the Stoics called disknowledge. Disknowledge is a retreat into ironclad certainties. It forms a rigid ideological framework where no new information can penetrate. Highly intelligent people in this state do not use their minds to seek the truth. They use them to construct inescapable, perfectly rationalized prisons of false belief. Today, we live in an era defined by absolute digital certainty. Information is infinite and instantly accessible on glowing screens everywhere we look. We constantly confuse this overwhelming volume of data with genuine critical insight. This leads to a frustrating reality. Throwing more facts, superior data, or better arguments at someone suffering from amathia is completely useless. Presenting them with better evidence only triggers further cognitive dissonance, forcing their already capable intellect to build even stronger, more complex rationalizations to deflect it. To Socrates, amathia was a sickness of the character, a moral refusal to prioritize the truth over the self. The only reliable cure for self-deception is moral courage. We have to detach our egos from our ideas,